Hi, everybody. Welcome into Mornings with Loretta. Yeah, I'm so excited because I'm always excited. But let me tell you, my guest is an Emmy-nominated host, personality, and an overall amazing woman. And she's using her voice for a subject that we can't talk enough about if we talked every day. And then, if that wasn't enough, she had to grab a medical professional who also in her own lane is amazing when it comes to this subject. And we're talking about breast cancer awareness. Dr. Gary, welcome to Mornings with Loretta. Nina Parker, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So great to be here.
Yeah, and I hope we'll do this more than once. So let's just talk about why you decided to help raise awareness about triple negative breast cancer.
Listen, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer several years ago, and honestly, it was a wake-up call to how little I actually knew about breast cancer. So for me, once I started doing research, I felt empowered because I have to say, when she got her diagnosis, I felt pretty helpless. And, I felt like there wasn't anything I could do because I wasn't the one suffering with it. And I realized, oh, I can help her. I can find an advocacy group. I can work to get information to help her feel better. And that's exactly what I did along with my sister. And in doing so, I was able to really find out about Uncovering TNBC program.
I absolutely love that because you are so humble. Your platform is massive. E News, just so many, and you have your own show on Netflix, and you have the platform, and the fact that you're using it for a cause that not only can help
Yeah.
help people that you love and that are dear to you, but it helps the entire world. So, Dr. Gary, let me ask you this. What can you tell us about triple negative breast cancer and the disparities Black women face when it comes to this disease? Still in 2024, there's a huge disparity in medical care and options.
You're absolutely right. And we got to talk about it. So TNBC, or triple negative breast cancer, is difficult to target. It's difficult to treat. And it only accounts for about 10 to 15% of all breast cancers, but it grows really quickly. And by the time it's diagnosed, oftentimes it's spread. Black women in particular, we're more likely to get this type of breast cancer. And this is why we're raising this awareness. And it happens in younger women who are under the age of 40. It happens in people who have the BRCA1 and 2 mutations. And so it's so important for us to have this knowledge, to arm our community. And that's why we're partnered with Merck on this campaign to really uncover and educate about TNBC.
So let me ask you this. So since it's more difficult to detect, 10 to 15% of women have it. Are the symptoms unique to triple negative? And is it more likely that if your mom has it, should Nina be more concerned about triple negative than just regular? And I hate to say regular breast cancer, but you know what I mean. One that's not as difficult to treat.
So
And
the
if that frightens
diagnosis
you,
of it
Nina.
is still, oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
And Nina, then I want you to tell us if that frightens you a little more than just regular, breast cancer, which is no small feat, right, to have to overcome that. But I just want the people to understand the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think, there's always an area of when you don't know anything, you get a little scared. But for me, I get my screenings once a year, and I started my screenings late. I started my screenings late because I was so afraid of what happened with my mom that I kind of went into avoidance mode where I just figured, oh, well, I just won't get a screening and I don't feel nothing. I'm good. And my doctor basically had to sit down. I got in trouble, had a little slap on the wrist and said, go ahead and get to that appointment because avoidance doesn't do anything. And, he was absolutely right. And even with all of the education that I had with my mother, when it became to myself, I had to kind of revert back and remember the tools that I had available to myself. And getting screening was the key. In my first screening, they did actually find like a shadow or a lump. They weren't quite sure. I had to go back every 6 months for 2 years to make sure and kind of see what was going on. And that was a little scary. But then my mom was able to throw her support to me. So, and everything ended up being fine. But, it's just something that you have to deal with. It's nothing we can avoid. And again, knowledge is power, which is why I want to tell everyone to go to the Uncover TNBC website. There's so many things there as far as risk guides, fact sheets that can help you in addition to other people who are going through the same thing that you can use as a level of support.
That's great. So Dr. Gary, I still want you to answer the question. Is it more difficult to detect and to treat? And are the symptoms unique for just triple negative? And what should we really strive in this messaging that we're doing? Because I know, Dr. Gary, you're about creating a movement, not just a conversation once a year. You're creating this daily movement for women of color to really have this information so that we can help save lives. So what do you recommend we do when it comes to detection and treatment?
Absolutely. So the first thing is that the most common symptom of breast cancer is no symptom at all. And it's why if you're of screening age, you should go get checked. Get your screening mammogram and do not delay. Triple negative breast cancer can be hereditary. And so getting genetic testing and having that conversation and starting screening 10 years younger than the youngest person in your family with breast cancer is super important for us. The other thing that Black women especially need to know, because we may get this at a younger age, is that if we do feel something, if you feel a lump, go to your doctor and don't get turned away. Don't let someone say, oh, it's probably nothing. Get the workup, get the imaging, get the biopsy, because these are the things that we need to know in order to find it early, in order to live and save lives. And all this information is on our Uncover TNBC website, where we even have a discussion guide on how to talk to your healthcare provider about this. We know that it's scary. There's the facts. We have fact sheets for you. We can know your risk. And there's so many resources and so much empowerment around this conversation. And that's what I love about it. It's not just doom and gloom. Let's get you ready. Let's get you empowered. Let's arm you and your community with all the information you need to know about TNBC.
Oh, I love that. That's why I say she's creating this movement that is going to have this trickle effect, domino effect, and go around the world, not just in our communities and our families. So, Nina, let me ask you this. I have one more question for each one of you. I think we have enough time. So, Nina, what advice do you have for women who might be going through a breast cancer diagnosis? Because, that's scary in itself, but there's a community out there that's available.
There's a community out there. And look, I want to say, first of all, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to have, good and bad days. And that's just what's going to happen. You're human. Things are going to change while you go through your process. And it's okay to deal with that. But what I also want to say is make sure that the best way that you can empower yourself is with information. Listen, I know social media got a lot of social groups. That is not where you should be getting your information. Support, okay. Information, make sure you're going to uncovertnbc.com that can actually guide you into the places that can give you the best wealth of knowledge, because that is really how you're going to feel empowered through this process.
Oh, I love that. You're such a cheerleader, drum major for this cause. So that's what you
and Dr.
Gary are going to be unstoppable with this. I love that we have this new energy surrounding awareness for breast cancer and information. So, Dr. Gary, what are some of the key takeaways you like for the audience to remember about this conversation, and make it so that they can go and share it and people can comprehend and understand and then become drum majors themselves?
Absolutely. Key takeaways are this. 1, you've got to know your body. You've got to know your risk. 2, you've got to get your screenings, because this is something that affects our community disproportionately. And some of those disparities are related to implicit bias in healthcare. So when you go to your doctor, make sure you have tools, make sure you know what questions to ask, make sure you get your answers. And we want you to go to uncovertnbc.com, because those resources are there for you. It's good, solid information, and it's going to help us to continue this movement for health equity and breast cancer, because we are the ones who are going to save ourselves.
Oh, I love that. We're the ones that are going to save ourselves.
That's right.
Okay, so you have to invite us to some of your rallies, because I want us to treat this like a political campaign, because there's no other thing on this earth that gets more exposure than a political presidential campaign. And I think it does more harm than good, mostly. But some people can, you can make a decision. So I would love to see us do this around the subject of the disparities for Black women and women of color as it relates to breast cancer, because it's 2024, Absolutely. Y'all. Let's do this thing.
That's right. Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Let's do this again real soon, ladies. All right. And thank you for the work you're doing. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll talk soon, okay?
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Take care. Looking forward to it.
Bye-bye. So they have to go and shed more of this amazing energy and love and magic around breast cancer awareness, especially as it relates to the triple negative breast cancer that not a lot of people are bold enough or strong enough to talk about or knowledgeable enough to talk about. So let's do this thing and save some lives. We are going to save some lives. So I have another great segment coming up, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. And I love how these doors keep opening and swinging opening for topics that are so near and dear to me personally and professionally. So we do have this segment on. I'm just super excited about it because it's for everybody. We want Black voters to get out in numbers. The numbers are saying that Black voters are not getting to the polls and voting as often and regularly as most people. So I have the Executive Vice President of Insights with BET, Tayel, is here. We have a former mayor, state senator of Louisiana, and the president and CEO of the National Urban League. And guess what? These two powerful forces have teamed up to make sure those numbers start going up, 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 and up. And there's so much energy around what they're doing that I am so glad to be a part of that. So everybody, Tayel is already here. And I just hope and pray I'm pronouncing his name correctly. If not, I want him to correct me. Welcome to Mornings with Loretta.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Absolutely amazing. How are you?
That was right. I'm doing well. And you pronounced it perfectly correctly. So thank you.
Okay, then we're off to a great start. I'm so excited that you're here, and thank you for this work that you're doing. And you're no stranger to amazing campaigns, though. I have researched you, and to be young, you're already making your mark in this world. So I know whoever raised you are just so phenomenally proud of you. I just wanted to say that before we jump into our topic.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, so let's talk about what you're doing, this new project with you and the National Urban League. What is BET doing to help change the trajectory and those numbers that are sad when it comes to Black voters? Not being registered, but going out to actually vote. Talk about it for us.
Yeah, we're really excited to ensure that we've got both the Black vote and the Black agenda top of mind in everyone's kind of zeitgeist right now. So what we're doing is we're partnering with the Urban League to put on our 5th annual National Black Voter Day this September 20th. And so we are really excited about this. And National Black Voter Day is a day for us to come together and really examine our commitment to progress, how we want to show up and vote, and also operationally really think about the voting steps to make sure that we are registered, make sure that we check that registration, we have a plan to go vote, and really so we can really drive turnout in the election.
Okay, and I like how it's pretty much bipartisan. You're not telling people who to vote for. It is more important that they actually get out and make a decision and to vote. And not to get all historical and civil rights and, you know, all this power that was behind this whole reason that we actually have this honor and privilege of voting. But please don't waste that. Please don't let all those efforts and those lives be in vain. So it's important. So when you're talking to people potentially about voting, what's the message that you're bringing to them to impact that decision to vote?
Yeah. First, it's that you have a right as a Black person in America to have your seat at the table in this electoral process. So much of the targeting has been centered around making Black people feel apathetic, that their vote doesn't matter, and therefore we can stay out of the process. What we're saying is stay in. You have a right to be a part of this process. Vote informed and vote and be excited. So we want you to be informed and excited, regardless of who you vote for. Be those two things. If you are not informed, we can then educate you. And that's what National Black Voter Day is going to do. And we have a ton of speakers showing up to really help us understand what's happening from a policy standpoint on the Black agenda to help really make sure that we're battling misinformation that's happening. And we have a host of talent there that's going to be on the ground, from JT, Pusha T, Kerr, DJ Diamond Cuts is going to DJ for us. Lincoln University's Orange Crush Roaring Lion Marching Band is going to be there. Because we want you to be excited when you leave and say, wow, I'm in this process and I really want to make sure that I'm going to the polls excited and informed.
I love how you're getting them what they need to want to actually come to the rallies. And like I stated, that political presidential election rally and all the debates, that thing is a monster when it comes to the attention of American people. I want us to use that same political agenda in other areas, like getting out to vote. Why should you vote?
Yes.
So are you getting a lot of pushback when people say, well, it doesn't matter because they already know who's going to win? Because that's the most crazy statement to me that people make. And that's their excuse for not getting out to vote. So Taya, how do you defend that?
Well, I'm a numbers guy, so I always like to educate people on where we are and how thin the margins were. And so what we did is we did a ton of analysis to understand where the differences were. And I just want to throw a couple factoids out to everyone in the audience. The state of Georgia was separated at the top of the ticket by 11,000 votes in 2020. Pennsylvania was under 80,000 votes. North Carolina, 74,000 votes. And so you think about that there are millions of Black people eligible to vote in each of those 3 states. And in those 3 states that are real severe battlegrounds for the election, you had margins as smaller than sporting events. And so when we say everyone votes matter, every single person should get out there and make sure they're involved in the process so that we can make sure that the Black agenda is achieved on Election Day.
So how do you see the intersection of media and civic engagement involving in the context of Black voter empowerment? How can we use that?
Yeah, we now have seen the reports. There has been a massive misinformation campaign specifically against Black men and young people. And so done by many outside interests on this election. And so what we are thoughtful about especially in the Black media space, is that we want to be a space of trust and connection for the audience, that when you see something, for example, on BET, or you see something from the Urban League, you can trust that information, that has been vetted, it is factual, and it's something that actually benefits you in a way that can change the outcome of your circumstances. And so we're really thoughtful that we're using our massive platforms to be that space of both trust and connection for the audience.
Oh, I love that. So we have a question from our audience. They're asking, Monica Renee is asking, is there a targeted age range that you're reaching out to in effort to fight the voter apathy? Great question.
Yes. Hey, Monica, how are you? Yeah, well, I'll talk about age and gender quickly. Age, what we know in the 2020 election is over half of young people 18 to 24 who were registered did not vote. So we want to be thoughtful. We have a lot of headroom in the 18 to 24 space to get that over 50% of people who are registered to actually turn out. So we have specific tactics against that group and to really make sure they feel excited. On the Black male space around gender, again, that aggressive campaign on misinformation, we've been very thoughtful to find the right message and messengers to make sure that Black men feel informed and have the right information going into the election. So those are our primary 2 targets now, just to make sure that we really galvanize the base of Black people and get as many of us out as possible to the polls to vote.
Absolutely. One thing I've found, and Ty, you could talk more in details and numbers on this, but I was in a meeting and they were saying that depending on the number of voters in a region, maybe it's local or regional, you get those government dollars based on how many people are actually voting in a particular race. Is there some kind of truth to that? And can you add value to that statement? If we're voting, if it look like I'm in Shelby County, DeSoto County, 2 different counties I operate in, but the more people that vote in those counties, then government is typically going to say, we're going to pour more money into those regions because the voters are getting out there. Is there some kind of correlation to that?
Yeah, and it's mainly linked through the census. So the census is the official space where the government uses those census numbers to allocate dollars. But voting polls, voting turnout, voting registration is an input into that process. So again, having your voice heard in this electoral process, that's a great first step. And that's why it's important, is we want to make sure that we have Black people showing up in every case so people know we are here, we care, and this election really matters to us now and in the future.
Oh, wow. I could have this conversation with you all day, but I know we can't because you have other things to do. But I just feel like we don't have enough of these informed conversations around just the process of voting and getting people registered to vote.
Yeah.
And so if we could just start, how early do you think we should start having these conversations if there's a lot of apathy and pushback or misinformation for 18 to 24-year-olds? How can we kind of change that dynamic with earlier conversations?
I think you never stop, right? I would say instead of thinking about when do you start, you don't stop, because every election matters. You think about president. I want to really push to this community. Your school board is making major decisions on how your child is educated. So being really thoughtful that we should be involved in every election happening, from school board all the way up to the president.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, people are getting involved in this conversation. Can we talk before you leave about that September 20th event? Because I want us to make a lot of noise pre, post, and during that information section, and with all the energy that's going to be on stage. So they're asking, will that event be televised?
No, will not be televised. We will share clips of it in social, but you can go to bt.com/vote to register for the event. You can sign up to attend. It's a free event in Philadelphia. So again, please send all your friends in Philly and Jersey over. It's going to be an outstanding time. But do something locally on National Black Voter Day, because again, this is a national day for all of us to get involved in this election.
I love that it's the national day. We got to do this every year, and maybe next year or at some point I could be there live with you, Mr. Executive Vice President at BET. Don't forget your girl here in Memphis, Tennessee, Mississippi, right? I can bring some noise as well, with style, of course, but I can bring some noise to get some voters out. I can help.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was so great talking to you.
Tayel, I love the work you're doing, and I know you're definitely going to move that needle. It's going to like shake so bad that it's going to have to give up at least 20%, right? We're going to do 20-30% voter increase. Thank you for the work you're doing, Tayel. I appreciate you.
I appreciate it. No problem.
All right, come back anytime. Bye-bye. So Tayel has to go. Everybody has to go, and I'm just getting digged into these conversations because I know information is power. And then if you share it with energy and with facts and stats and figures, it makes it more applicable to apply in our everyday lives. And that's what we need. We need to have these conversations every day. I'm super excited about that. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in and watching Mornings with Loretta. Hey, look at the receipts of these guests. I'm telling you, you will be amazed and intrigued that they are so humble and so give so freely of their time for causes that can help all of us to do better and to have this great American country that we all so deserve, right? We all deserve a better, greater country and state and city and community and family. It dials down, right? So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in with us. And guess what? Think positive, dream big dreams, help someone along the way. And guess what? I'll see you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.